Just when you thought the excitement around the Birds offseason couldn't get any higher, Josh Davis and I actually got to interview Eagles superstar pass rusher Brandon Graham today and got some exclusive answers around the collapse last season, why BG thinks Nick Sirianni is the right head coach for the job, who's impressed him so far on the young defensive line, and a whole bunch more. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. I don't think we fully understand just how hard the end of last season was for a lot of the veteran Eagle players. Guys like Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce, and Brandon Graham all came back for one more season in 2023 following the horrific Super Bowl loss to try to run it back one more time and recapture some of the magic that the Birds had in 2022. But as the wheels slowly fell off the wagon last year, my expectation would slowly grow into believing that every single one of these veterans who came back for one extra year would probably retire at the end of the season. And sure enough, Jason Kelce, rightfully I think, decided to go ahead and hang up his cleats. Fletcher Cox likewise followed suit, and I think most of us wouldn't have blamed Brandon Graham for doing the same. I mean, come on, he's had 15 incredible seasons in the league, 73 total sacks, Pro Bowler, community leader, and also the main reason why the Eagles finally brought a Super Bowl back to the city of Philadelphia. But in the end, BG decided to actually come back for one final season and play the entire 2024 year, his final year, his farewell tour in Philadelphia. And despite being 36 years old and already having taken somewhat of a lesser role on the defensive line, Graham sounds eager for his farewell tour and also his ability to help mentor the next group of young, impressive Eagle defensive linemen. And today, myself and Josh Davis, we got a 45-minute exclusive sit-down with Brandon Graham. Zero questions were off the table. We could ask him whatever we wanted to during this interview. And we asked a ton of questions. I mean, we went into last year's collapse. Nick Sirianni, is he the right coach for the job? What's Jalen Hurts like behind the scenes? The media's attacking him a whole bunch recently. Bryce Huff instead of Hassan Reddick. What does Nolan Smith look like? And a ton more. But quickly, before we start, shout out to BG for letting myself and Josh Davis give away not one, but two Kelly Green number 55 Nike Eagle jerseys, Brandon Graham's jersey, of course, but signed by BG himself on my channel and Josh's channel. And of course, entering is always super simple. Just be subscribed to my channel. You should also sub to Josh's channel as well. Then comment BG on my video down below for one entry. If you want an additional entry, though, go over to Josh's show. I'll link that down below in the pinned comment and comment BG down there as well. And of course, we're going to draw the two winners during one of our live shows during the next couple of weeks. You guys know that every single Wednesday. But go down below, comment, subscribe, and best of luck to you. This is a very, very fun giveaway. And the main reason why you should be subbed to this channel and Josh's channel, the best and most exclusive Eagles content and the best giveaways as well. Without further ado, here's the man himself, Brandon Graham. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here alongside Josh Davis, and you guys know who this is, a very special guest. It is Brandon Graham, the Eagles' superstar pass rusher. Brandon, we greatly appreciate you jumping on with us here. Says you just finished up a workout, getting ready for training camp less than a month from today.
Yeah, man, just making sure that I'm ready when that time comes to go out and perform. You know, just making sure that we getting right.
I think you said in your last press conference, you know, the whole idea that this is your final training camp or your final OTAs and minicamp, and you wanted to be there even though a lot of these practices were voluntary. How different has it felt going into these, you know, tough workouts that some veterans just skip going into what is going to be your final season?
Well, I work out already up there at the facility with the staff. I like what they do. I feel like I'm in really good shape just from, you know, just being a part of their program already. And it's free, and, you know, just making sure that that they going to have me ready when the time comes. But I think that, you know, the guys just trust me, so I want to make sure that I be around to help, you know, a lot of the guys. I'm in that serving mindset because I feel like I'm the knockout punch in the end. You know what I'm saying? You preserve, and then bam, I go out and when it count, you know, make a play for the guys. But I'm just happy to be a cheerleader for a lot of them, seeing them grow during the offseason. A lot of guys up there with me, they training with me, letting the team see them, and I just want to make sure that they ready for training camp to at least get themselves a shot.
Absolutely. I love that too. You talk about, you know, you're the closer basically. So I mean, we all know that, but to bring in there at kind of that final punch, I've got to ask too, BG, just because naturally, you know, you talked about your last season here, kind of the last hurrah with Philly. Is it difficult at all with, you know, like kind of thinking or planning about the future? You know, this is the last time, but is it difficult at all to like have that same mindset of attacking every single day? Or is there anything that you're going through being like, oh man, that might be my last time? Is there any realizations there? Or is it still just, you know, business as usual? You'll reflect later on after they get done with the season.
Nah, man, I honestly, have been in the moment. Us men, being taskers, I try to make sure that at least when I'm there, I'm present in the moment. But I try to stay intentional with just knowing this is my last one as a player. And so the time that I stay away from the team is the less time I can get to know them and hold them accountable when that time comes in war, when we go through war together. This is just my last one. So why not connect on a even more bigger level than I ever have? And then, as a young player, you tend to, not appreciate these times just as much until you know when it's no longer gonna happen for you. And so, man, I am enjoying the times. I'm being intentional on making sure I ain't missing nothing, being a part of the off the field stuff that guys are doing even more than I ever have, just so that I can, just enjoy my last hoorah and still put myself in a position to be able to make plays out there and to help, the team win, hopefully a championship, so that we can, so I can go out on top. Everybody go out with a ring, because we know how hard it is in this league, and we got to go do it. And I know it starts from the top. And me being at the top, as far as 15 years in the league, a lot of knowledge to help the guys. I just want to serve them and help them get where they're trying to go, because I know I'm going to need everybody.
We talk about this being your last season, but it's also your first season with new defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. And Josh and I have gotten to interview Isaiah Rodgers and Moro Jomo and Zach McPherson the past couple of days, and all your teammates have kind of said the same thing about him. No nonsense, straight to the point, no BS or anything like that. What's the biggest difference you've seen so far being around Vic versus some of the other defensive coordinators you've had in Philadelphia the past couple of years?
Well, I think Vic probably got a chip on his shoulder too, to come and prove himself as a coordinator, even though I know he's already proven there's a lot of stuff. But every year, I don't care how proven I am, I got to go show that I'm still able to make plays out there and still able to do what this team what I can help them, do in this year. And so I know for him, he probably coming in like, this is my dream job. He want to come in and get right and make sure that he's here for a long time. So he's got a lot to prove himself, and we can't wait to be a part of it, because we are a representation of him and he a representation of us. So he got to put us in the right position, and we got to go out and make the plays. So I think everybody's bought in. That's one thing I know. Knowing Vic being no nonsense and all that, it's like, yeah, it's cool to be cool and be friends with people, but we are really co-workers. We got a job to do. We got to go out there and prove ourselves, because not all of us is going to make it anyway to be on this team this year. But while we're here, let's try to make sure we can coexist. And we got to get straight to the point, because it ain't that much time.
I know we're super excited. We're right there with you, honestly. You saying, got to make plays, chip on your shoulder. Everybody else, Thomas and I have mentioned it multiple times whenever we talk, but, all Philly fans, like, hey, Vic Fangio has the resume, but to your point, there's that chip on the shoulder. You want to prove something. I think understandably, more people are familiar with Fangio because he's the father of the defense and, all of his schemes and everything else there. But Clint Hurt, I feel like, has kind of gone a little bit under the radar, maybe overlooked as far as like a signing for the D-line. I'm curious what impact he's made, differences that you're feeling within the team there.
You can see that he's building that trust with the guys. That's really important when you get in those moments in the heat of the battle, being able to, knowing your personnel of guys and how they respond to a lot of different things. And you got to treat everybody differently, because everybody respond differently. And so I think Clint's done a great job just connecting with the guys. Like Nick Sirianni, that's one of our core values, and it's about connecting. And right now, that's what we're doing. And so that's why I really stay around, because I know how important that piece is. Because in those heated moments where stuff ain't going so right, and maybe people might be thinking in their head, oh, man, I just made a bonehead play. But as long as you know that person, I can go to that person and be like, hey, man, I got your back, man. It's all good. You can calm them in a high-pressure situation. And I think Clint has done a great job, because he started fast with them boys. I mean, them boys you got to be in shape with Clint, because he is definitely on it, but he's taking care of them towards the end. And I think that's very important as a coach. You got to have times when you take care of your guys, because they've been going so hard for you. And now it's about, all right, you ain't going to run us in the ground. You're going to make sure you take care of us on certain days. We just got to make sure we bringing it. So I think he's doing a good job. And with him being a coordinator too, I think that helped him be able to manage just a smaller room than everybody as a coordinator. So I think we got some good stuff there.
You mentioned just being in the room and being present and taking care of your guys. We've heard rumors that both Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce, obviously very close with them, retired now, but they've been in that building a little bit. Is it more hanging out, getting a little workout in, maybe some free food, see all the guys? Are they sitting in meetings? Are they helping out in any sort of significant way, or just kind of around the building for a little bit more of the nostalgia and the fun?
I think they helping because their presence is all around anyway. With Fletch around, guys want to walk up on him and ask him different questions, and I know Fletch want to be there, and I will want to be seen too. Like, hey y'all, like I'm still here. I'm rooting. I see that y'all got some good stuff going. I want to help in any way I can. That's the love of just the love of the game. I think that's why they show up, because everybody don't come back sometimes because it's a hard pill to swallow when it's over. But it takes a certain person to come on back, knowing how much value that they added to this league when they played, and to come back and to still try to pour into the guys. I think it's a little bit of everything for them. The goodbyes, the want to be like, let people know and see people so that you can help them and guide them with any questions that they may have or may be going through at the time. And any part of just being in the locker room with the boys, because it's just cool to have that locker room, that cool vibe of, man, everybody grinding for that moment and having fun, jokesters, and so much different life stuff that be happening in them locker rooms. That's what you miss a lot. So I think it's a lot of everything that they coping with, that we helping them too.
I think it's totally different. Again, I mean, we see, because outside looking in, but just the reports, the videos that we get, the glimpses, everything else feels like the vibes are in the right direction with this squad. It's just a different feel. And I believe that you're one of the first players that kind of came out and talked a little bit more about the coaches from last year, maybe not having some in the right places. Understandably, it's like, hey, we're moving on. We're going to this coming season. It's going to be different. But I'm curious, is there anything specific, anything in particular that you were alluding to as far as not having coaches in the right places, or just kind of the part for last year?
Well, no, honestly, what I was saying was, we all pretty much it just wasn't. We lost a lot of people in positions, because when you go to Super Bowl, a lot of guys get good, better jobs, and sometimes it's hard to replace some of better. How would I say? I would just say, like, a lot of coaches would leave and go get different jobs, and then you got to replace them people, and like the connection that you got to build again, with different people. We were fortunate to have them for 2 years, back to back. You know what I'm saying? And that matters, because we was intentional on connection, but that's really what it was. I feel like, we were trying to build that connection, and it just wasn't as fluent as we needed it to be in a little amount of time that we needed, for it to happen. So that's part of it, though. But if we had another year together, I'm sure it wouldn't be exactly what it was. But people want that same gratification that the year before, that Super Bowl run and all that stuff. They want that same thing, but you got to remember, everybody got to choose to stay and fight to go run again that same thing to get back to where we know we can get. Or if people leave, it's hard to replace some of those faces and personalities, the energy that they bring, the minds that they have, all that stuff matters. And I think it just showed up for us because of the expectations of the scene, in a bad way, because everybody had to get fired because of those expectations. But you got to remember, everybody had at least 2 years. Doug Peterson, when he came, the first year we was 7-9. Then next year we go win it all in the Super Bowl, and we still had that same staff. It's the same way. It's like when you come in a situation where expectations is so high, you gotta hope and pray with the same guys that you got, that we can connect with them and get them to believe in our dream. You know what I'm saying? And everybody got to believe in it. And I think that that's part of it. That's part of the journey. So I think if we had a second year with those guys, it would have probably been a whole lot differently. But in this league, it's about what have you done for me lately. If you ain't doing it, you got to go, because it's so many fans that was coming for heads.
Yes. There were lots of those, understandably. And to your point, it's a great point. But like the instant gratification, it's like, oh, we should just automatically be there because, and it's good to have expectations, certainly within Philly and the Eagles organization, everything there. But I guess, I'm curious too, like last year, all of us lived through it. I'm sure, even worse for actually playing, being on the field and everything like that. But was there ever a moment where I don't know, you sat back and were just kind of like, oh my gosh, why can't we catch a break? Is it just really small things, but just not putting it together? Was there ever a moment in season that it felt that way? Or I'm just curious, kind of, again, outside looking in, but how it feels for the players in the locker room there.
Well, for me, it just hit me honestly when I was just talking about that. It's like, wow, we only really had 1 year to really get that connection with each other. And it really does take time. It takes time when you get a new, even though we had a head coach for with all these years now, but the position coaches, the people that's there in your rooms that you talking to, doing your individual drills with. Stoutland been there for a while. The O-line for sure was good. The D-line was good. Like certain positions, when you get them new, they need to build that connection. Like we lost JG, the coordinator. We get a new coordinator. Then we lose our linebacker coach because he go be the coordinator for JG. And then now you lose those coaches, and now you get like it's like, and then that's what we talking about. How are these guys going to be coming into the year? This is our strongest group. This is because they trust in who they got as the coach. They already proven and built that connection with guys, and then they go off and they stay. Because some people you just can't let go. Like a Stoutland, you can't let go of the Stoutland because your old line you want them to have a good coach like that. You got to take care of a man like that. Our coach, my coach, he's a good one too. He's been there a while with me, Coach Wash, and it's like you trust, you want certain stuff to be, and you understand if they gotta go, if people paying a premium that you can't pay. But it's just, like the Lions, they brought all their coaches back. They gonna be even better this year, so that's another team to watch because they believe in that dream. But you see, they went to the Super Bowl. A lot of coaches had opportunity, they didn't leave. We understood that they chose to leave because you're supposed to when you hot. But if you believe in what you got coming back, sometimes people choose that because they comfortable where they at. But yeah, man, I think for me, I've learned that that's what that was. That's all that was. We didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time with that team last year with the talent we had. But that's the game. That's part of it.
You mentioned coaching. You mentioned not having enough time. I don't think I've ever seen a head coach in Nick Sirianni go from, top of the podium in 2022. He makes it to the Super Bowl. He's this young, spirited guy. Everybody in Philadelphia loved him. They're like, this guy embraces Philadelphia. And then as last year started to slowly decline towards the end, everyone just switched on Nick Sirianni. And now this offseason, the media continues to kind of look into his relationship versus Jalen Hurts and, Kellen Moore now taking over the offense. And there's so many little chirping noises outside of the organization. I think fans are starting to buy into it a little bit. You've been around Nick Sirianni a lot. You've been a big proponent of his. What would be your pitch to an Eagle fan right now who's maybe a little bit weary of Sirianni going into 2024 to kind of convince them that he is the right guy and he's the guy that everyone has bought into heading into year 4?
I say he's still that guy that you're going to love. We all make mistakes and have different things you want to take back as far as, decision makings, all that stuff. But like I told you, it's like, he's the head of it. He's the one at the front, so he's gonna get all the slander and all that stuff, and then they gonna have the questions of, are you really connecting based off, the 1 year? And I understand that because the expectations was high, but now I feel like this, even with him, every year you gotta have that chip on your shoulder. Even for me, I keep that chip on my shoulder because I've seen it go from it was bad to good, but now what I'm saying. I had to forgive. I had to stop. Unblock people. I had to get off my, high horse of like, what? Everybody make mistakes. Same with Nick Sirianni. He make mistakes. Last year wasn't good enough, and a lot of stuff popped up that popped up in the season, and he handled it the best way he could. And now I think he's gonna come back even stronger because he's open to learning his team even more. Staying the course on what he trusts in himself that he does already, and not listen to the outside noise, and make sure that he's just connecting on an even more level for himself as a coach. Because man, you do this, you want to connect. Some people, when they say that, it's hard to not do that because it's just sometimes you deal with people that it's hard when you go through trials and tribulations in life and games. You see certain stuff that you have to deal with because everybody don't deal with stuff. Everybody deal with stuff differently, on how they handle trauma that happens in their life, on how they deal with stuff. And Nick Sirianni has to be the head coach to be able to go to everybody to be able to, be able to multitask and know how to deal with this guy, that guy, this guy. He ain't gonna be perfect, but I think he does a great job of calling people out on their stuff, even the vets included. And I think he got a lot of great qualities in him on speaking and communicating and telling us what it is, what's the detail, and getting better with that, detailing our work so you know how to do your job. And, man, everything else start to happen. And I think this year is going to be really good, man. Howie did a great job. I think just putting together this staff and everybody that's going, coming in, the players, good personalities, and it's on us. We got to go put the work in. And I think we're doing a good job so far from what I've seen.
It's really exciting too, and you mentioned it. We've kind of talked about it a couple different questions here, honestly, but the expectations kind of in a way set up for failure of the sense of 70 sacks. It's like, how on earth are you even supposed to live up to anything close to that? Because it's just like, that is so much of an outlier. Again, it's like, hey, there's lots of talent on the D line. But we didn't see that, and so again, people start going, "Oh, hey, is this player going to be? Is he done? Is he coming back?" We had the rumors of Josh Sweat, possibly going to be gone, and then obviously it's Hassan Reddick who ends up going. But I'm curious with some of the newer guys. Obviously, Sweaty's still here, yourself included. But some of the newer guys or the newer faces, is there anyone in particular? I'll leave it kind of broad, but anyone in particular that you're looking forward to, or maybe someone who's going to make an impact that you see this year?
Well, on the D line, everybody, I don't want to speak ahead because we haven't put the pads on just yet, but I know it's
That's
a lot
fair.
of great attitudes in that building, especially in that D line. Like it's just one of those things. As a D line, you got to be cohesive and y'all rush. Y'all got to be together. You got to be able to sacrifice yourself some plays just for the next man to be able to make a play. Like running different line stunts and line games that you run. Sometimes I got to give up. I got to take two guys just for the one person to get free so he can go get the quarterback in. I think Josh Huff, Huff, you know what I'm saying? He is some guy that's coming in. We miss Hassan for sure, but we got a good one that came in too with Huff, and he's just ready to work, come to work every day, hustle. Somebody that I think gonna have a big impact this year. Sweaty for sure. And that the D tackles, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, they've been building.
Mm-hmm.
Clint did a great job. Like I told you, he came in hot. Milton Williams, that's another one. That nobody talking about. That's gonna shock a lot of people this year.
There you go.
We gonna see. It's a bunch of hidden gems right now on our team. It's a bunch of question marks too. But I think a lot of people should have chips on their shoulders, which I feel should get us over that hump this year. If we stay dialed in on that and worrying about the one day at a time mentality, because we don't know what tomorrow gonna bring, but I'm gonna take care of the day and I'm gonna win the day. So that's our mindset right now.
Man, I'd love that. That is so exciting to me. And Thomas knows that I'm going to ask this question because before I was already like, I've got to ask this. But all right, I'm a huge Nolan Smith fan. I know lots of people are.
Sure.
Nolan Smith, understandably, first round pick, all of this, and you've been very high on Nolan. I think that there's similarities. I think you've mentioned it, and other people as well. Happy juice energy, just have the right vibes and everything else there. I believe at the presser, you said something to the effect, he's ready to prove the doubters wrong. He's taking that year two approach. There's some confidence in everything on that side, but we saw a little bit. Nolan spoke about adding a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle. There was perhaps, I don't know if it was a procedure on his shoulder or just some rehab, something with the shoulder injury. But going into year two, obviously, you talk about 15 years in the league. You have lots of wisdom, advice. Is there anything in particular that you've shared with Nolan, or just kind of as far as moving into year two and expectations going forward? Because, like I say, big fan of Nolan. Not trying to do unrealistic expectations, but I'm curious what words of advice and wisdom you've given him.
Keep his edge. Keep that edge. And that, like I say, that's the chip that's on that shoulder to prove yourself right. It's more about yourself. Because I know being in that position, being a first rounder, it's a lot of pressure that first year to at least live up or try to be at least in the mix of talking about who was the defensive rookie of the year or whatever side of the ball you are on. And it's that mindset that sometimes you don't get all the opportunity because sometimes you might not be as ready, but you can see the potential in him. It's the stuff you got to learn, the vets you learn from. And I think just going into year 2, what we talked about, that first year usually be a little rough for guys. Sometimes you get a hit with them right away and it just pick it up. Like, Aaron Donald coming in right away, just terrorizing the league. But I know for Nolan, he always showed that burst and was fast. And, it was just more about just building his confidence. They didn't want to, just we had guys. We had Hassan. We had Sweaty. We had myself and at the time Derek Barnett before he got traded out. And then, Nolan, I just think that he just got a real good shot this year and going into year 2 because now everybody's looking at you. And I think he's done a great job just keeping his edge because even when he hurt his shoulder, had to get he dealt with that during the year too. He dealt with injuries that nobody knew about, that he was hustling and making sure that he was pushing through at that time. And Nolan, for sure, coming into this year after surgery, when it was time for him to go, OTAs, boy, he was going. And I can't wait to see him with the pads because I know just seeing from his burst, he already looking good. I just can't wait to see him all put together and start making plays and then getting that sour taste out of his mouth of what people been saying or the question marks that people have. Now and it's because he putting the work in. So I'm expecting a big one from him too. It's a lot of quiet hidden gems though, but everybody, like I said, got to go out and do it.
Let's go. You got me fired up. You got me absolutely fired up right now.
That just made Josh's day, BG. He is
really
the biggest Nolan Smith fan out there, so he's pumped. He's very pumped.
Hey, keep it going. I'm telling you, I'm pouring everything into him. I'm pouring everything
into
him.
Okay.
We love that. We love that. I want to go back and ask a quick other Fangio follow-up question here because Jalen met with the media. Jalen Hurts did a week and a half ago, and he was asked the question, how different is Kellen Moore's offense? And he says it's 95% different from last year. And then people in the media say, no, sources say it's 20% different, causing this whole brouhaha. That was just crazy. I mean, it's June, so you got to talk about something. In your mind, though, how different is this Vic Fangio defense? Maybe give us a percentage-wise, just like Jalen did, versus what it was last year, a disciple of Vic Fangio in Sean Desai. Is it very different, very similar? What have you seen so far?
I just think it's more, everything is detailing. I mean, to Desai's defense, like I said, the 1 year that he got to work with the new coaches that he got to work with and sell his product, and get everybody on the same page. Even for coaches, you got to get them to be saying the same tune. And I think it's just, that's where it gets, that's the game right there. You got to be detailing your work. You got to be able to tell the players exactly what it is that your head guy wants, and you got to believe in all that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they didn't believe in that, but I'm just saying that's the game right there. And I think Vic is similarities with a lot of the coaches that he has, and that's why I think they did a good job on having coaches that been through the system of Vic Fangio. Like you got a Joe Casper who just came from the Dolphins. He's the safeties coach. He's been with Vic. He can help the DB coach that's new really get up to speed on what he expects from Vic, what Vic expects from him, and then, tell the players this is what we expect. This is get on the same page. And I think they did a good job of that. And so that where I say it's different, I just say it's different because you can see everybody just together. The DBs last year, you seen a lot of stuff. You seen we wasn't all like on the same time zone. Not saying that was a bad thing, but that's the whole game during the offseason on where you trying to get everybody to, you selling your product, like of what you your cause, and this is how I'm gonna do it. This is how I'm all that. You got to simplify, a lot of stuff just for that first year sometimes too, because maybe you don't have the personnel that you had with the Rams or wherever you at, like before Seattle, that can handle some of the stuff that you put on their shoulders. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to adjust as a coach. So that's what I've learned going through this, being through this a long time. You got to be able to sell your product as fast as you can, get it all out there for them to do in OTAs, which we had a real OTAs this time. We was there at 9 weeks. We practiced a lot of that, like to the size of them defense. We only did it 4 weeks last year, and we was done. Then you got training camp. So that matters too. I understand that as a player, as good as the 4 weeks is, just to get 4 weeks, I believe we might need a little extra time when you got new coaches in. You know what I'm saying? So that y'all can go through the whole playbook and then really get on that same page. And so, yeah, man, that's I mean, man, all this as I'm saying it, I'm like, wow, that's so true and key of what you need to do when you come into a new territory. You got to hurry up in this league because it's a fast pace. It's man, then you ain't got time. You better get it right. You know, if you coming in a situation like Philly, coming from Super Bowl, lose it, you got to go back and go take what's ours, like in their mind. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot. It was a lot. But I learned a lot, too. That's what I just learned talking through this right here.
That's great. There you go. It's funny because Lane Johnson was on NFL Network yesterday. I think he also said similarly. He's like, man, it goes by in a blink. You know, it's just so fast. So, 12 years for him, 15 years for you. You got to be picking up quickly because there's not a whole lot of time. I'm curious, because we mentioned a little bit with the pass rush. Understandably, you're not putting the pads on yet, so maybe not as much, but it's more so for the secondary, and still it's in pajamas, as Bobby King alluded to. But you get a little bit of 7-on-7, 11-on-11. The secondary unit, from all reports and little glimpses that we've gotten, has looked very good. And so I'm curious to know, because there is that kind of that blend or the cohesiveness between the secondary and the pass rush, and both sides can help each other out quite a bit. But what's the excitement level like? Just initial takeaways from the secondary unit, the new pieces, the rookies, some of the other acquisitions within the secondary.
Man, just stay healthy, and we got some guys back there for it. From who I like, Q, the rookie, who that boy Isaiah Rodgers, who nobody really got a chip on his shoulder too. You got a Vontae Maddox, got another chip. Man, it's some safeties back there with Gardner Johnson now, who should have probably never left. But he's back, and then you got that boy Reed. Man, we stacked back there right now, man. I'm excited for them guys, but we got to go do it. We really do got to go out, and we got to do it together. And we can't. Some people gotta, when you got a bunch of guys who are really good and showing that they're good, it's like some people got to be willing to take that back seat sometimes and learn as much as they can and stay locked in. And that's the challenge for us. To be excited for guys whose time it is at that time. Because not saying that you might not get the time later in the year or whatever it is, just stay ready for your moment. But we all got to sit back. Even for myself, I had to sit back the year we went to Super Bowl and come off the bench. And I had my best year. I had 11 sacks coming off the bench, being the number 2. But if I didn't handle that the right way, I wouldn't even probably made it to that point or been ready for that moment. So when you got a bunch of good guys and good players on your team, some people got to take that back seat sometimes to continue learning and staying locked in for when they do might come in 2 or 3 plays, make them the best 2 or 3. You might get 2 picks, might get 2 sacks, whatever it is, but you won't give yourself a chance if you don't handle it the right way. So I think that's the main focus for me as a team, just keeping these guys focused on, how you expect somebody to be rooting for you if you can't root for them. You know what I'm saying? When it's daytime. So just be in the service mindset and serve the guys while doing your job the best you know how, and man, enjoy it, because it goes by fast, like Lane said. And if you next thing you know, you will be happy more on how you dealt with the situation when things were hard in a good way, then look back and be like, dang, man, I shouldn't have been acting like that, having regrets, because you should, like, it didn't get you nowhere. It didn't progress you like it could have if you would have handled it the right way. So, yeah, that's the biggest challenge when I feel we got a really good team, guys taking the back seat some games. If it's not you're not the high hand, or, you out here and coach might not put you in to the last little bit, but hey, I don't care. He could put me in the 4th. I'm ready to go, whatever you're looking for. Sometimes it don't always go your way. And so you got to know that, and you got to believe that whatever it is that you striving to get to, it's going to happen. But you got to just make sure you keep your mind clear of that, the stuff that pop up in your mind that keep it cluttered from the real goal that you have for yourself. And man, you gotta stay focused on that. You can't let nothing get in the way of that.
From the outside looking in, Eagle fans this offseason, including Josh and myself, it was just crazy watching all these dominoes start to fall as Howie kind of, worked his magic. It was suddenly, we have a little bit of money, well, do we have that much room for acquisitions? And then Saquon, and then Huff, and then CJ, and then what he did in the draft. From your point of view, you're smiling right now. Were you as surprised as we were that they went that crazy in the front office and getting all these guys? As was just sitting back going like, wait, we got Saquon? We got these people? Or are you kind of aware that they were going to make a big splash all throughout free agency and the NFL draft?
Man, I did not know. He surprised me just as much as he surprised y'all. And I like I said, I didn't know if we had enough money to do whatever. And we paid some guys like Devontae and Landon and, pretty big chunks, too. And it's like, wow. Like the way they do it, man, the way they do it. I don't know yet because I ain't on that side of it yet. But I know for me, I know he knows what he's doing. And if anybody's learning from him, I mean, man, I hope they taking notes for real.
Is Saquon as advertised? All I've heard whenever people are asked, Eagle players who've been on the roster, that, man, Saquon Barkley in person, he's massive. He's walking around at 235, Lane Johnson said during his interview the other day. The leadership side of things seems pretty impressive so far for a guy just coming into a new locker room. As advertised, Saquon Barkley, yes or no?
Yep. It's a yes for me, man. But I already know what he's gonna do. But like I say, we got to go prove it every year. It's all lip service. We can't live off last year. It's about what you do this year. It's what you do with this team, how you gel with this team, how your personality, all that stuff. And I mean, he is as advertised. He knew some guys already, even including myself, because we always talk because we know mutual guys off the field, and it's cool, that we able to play as a team. And we got a lot of guys on this team that know him already, so it's easy to kind of hold him accountable to stuff that pop up, or to all our bull. You know what I'm saying? We can get called out on that, like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people know me. They know when I ain't being 100% with them or whatever. Like whatever it is that that's you. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where the connection piece comes, and it was already there when he came in, and we were just happy that he's on our side, and it's about him staying healthy because I know that's a chip that's probably on his shoulder, staying healthy for the whole season and making sure that he's available for the team. And, we want to help him get there. We want to help everybody try to get over the hump of wherever they feel they need to get over the hump at. So that's the challenge, but we up for it.
I love this whole, iron sharpens iron, chip on a shoulder, everybody competing. We get these glimpses with the videos that the Eagles YouTube team has put out with some of the challenges and things like that, which is awesome. As Thomas mentioned earlier, I had Isaiah Rodgers on a few days ago, and Zay was kind of alluding to the fact that the defense might be beating the offense in some of these challenges. I mean, not to just necessarily throw it out there, but I'm curious because, obviously in the friendly spirit of competition, you guys can both make each other better. And I think sometimes the mantra or the stigma is the Eagles offense is, all these playmakers, which understandably, yes, they are. But does that give the defense maybe an added chip on the shoulder in terms of, practices and these other challenges and obviously, OTAs previously?
I think that competition definitely feeds that hunger for everybody, knowing that he got me yesterday, I'm going to get him today. He got me with this move. Or say you might be getting got all the time with that move, but you're just happy to keep to play against somebody that's better than them. Like, and we got a lot of those. A lot of people that's really good at stuff and really good at doing stuff out there that can help us. But like you say, it's the iron that sharpens iron, and as long as I'm being me without being nobody else and going out there and competing and having that mindset to work hard. That's really all it is when you're competing, is to work hard to the best of your ability that you only know that you're doing on the inside. Like, we've seen little stuff, but that the work that you're putting in. When you really push yourself and your mindset that you're developing in those hard moments to push through, because now I got somebody that's looking that knows me and know I can make a play when it gets hard and I get tired, and they talking to me like, come on, B, come on, let's get it. All that stuff. That stuff matter, man. And I think the that's all it breeds, is being able to be comfortable and talking to certain guys, like all your teammates a certain way, because they know what they've been through, what they've seen it. We've seen you win that battle. This is just like another day. Go out there. What you did to AJ last week, go do that to whoever we playing that week. It's like all that. Just building that confidence in each other. And I think that's what happens when the defense, we could be leading. And we have been doing really good stuff this offseason. But all it's doing is helping the offense come back with some where, all right, I got to do this today. I know what I got to deal with because this is him. This is what he's been showing me. And, we all about film study, learning each other, learning how to beat certain stuff that you see so that when you see it against an opponent, oh, that's another guy that do what AJ do. All right, bet. All right, we go this how I won the last time. I'm gonna hit him with this. You find little tricks as you get older and smarter and wiser on how to deal with certain guys that do certain things well. So I'm excited, man. I think we got a team that want to compete, and we got some good athletes out there, man. But we got to go put it together.
I want to ask a quick question basically about all the community service that you've done with our mutual friend Justin Brown here in just a second, but I want to sneak in before we end the interview one Jalen Hurts question, because as QB1 in Philadelphia, I think you know better than everybody that there's a lot of criticism. Even if you're playing great, even if you have a really good year statistically, if you don't win a Super Bowl, the media is going to come after you. Jalen's recent criticism from the outside looking in from a media standpoint has been quiet, right? We keep hearing this thing, he's really quiet, he's really to himself, we need him to be a vocal leader, but we're, Josh and I do YouTube shows. We're not meeting Jalen Hurts on a daily basis. You're with him every single day. Is there any truth to that quietness of Jalen Hurts, or is that just the camera version and inside the locker room it's very different?
Hey, let me tell you, Jay does a good job behind the scenes. He already get a lot of people, on him already just for being the quarterback. I think he like to do a lot of stuff behind closed doors because he want them to know that it's coming from a genuine place, not just for the cameras. And I think everybody go about their stuff in different ways, and I'm okay with that because I know what I'm getting with him. I've connected with him even more on a way deeper level, knowing that he's just allowing people to just talk how they gonna talk. But I know for sure that he's been intentional on making sure that he build that connection. He's understanding that piece. I seen him with the rookies down there, in Florida doing his thing, with them, coaching them up, getting them ready. So when in training camp, when it gets hard, and he know what they could do already because they want to show off and show what they do when they down there in Florida with him. I think he can always resort back and be like, hey, man, you showed me you could do that already. Come on, what you doing? Let's do it. Building their confidence as rookies and knowing that a guy like Jalen Hurts, who you striving to get to, and as far as the level of play, somebody that, on me, man, I don't want to let him down because I spent that time with him. And so I'm happy for Jay because I think he do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that nobody knows about, which is good because you shouldn't, because that's what it is. But these quarterbacks that do that, that's what's up. Just like me, I'm a more vocal leader. Yeah. I'm more comfortable in that role. But some guys, they like to do it from behind. They don't want the rah-rah. They don't do all the rah-rah. We got a lot of that on the team. So he might have feel like he ain't got to do all that. He just got to go out there and get the ball to where he got to go. And then you might see him smiling and doing all that cool stuff. But work is to be done. And I know that's his mindset. Work got to get done first. And then we can play, and have some fun. When I'm partying, you will see him popping that bottle when he get that Super Bowl. I definitely know he going to have a smile, big smile then.
For sure. I think all of us will. All of us will. I want to wrap with this, though. You recently worked with Justin Brown. You spoke at the Downingtown School District about the importance of community. 15 years in Philadelphia. You've been, incredible just giving back to the community. What has that meant to you, and how has that impacted your play on the field, knowing that you have been able to balance off the field time, working with Eagle fans and people in the community versus on the field as well?
Well, we all here, man. God definitely want us to serve. And so serving the community is one thing that's the head of our family. Me and my wife, that's what we talk about on how can we make someone's day. We teaching our kids, that value because it's a key piece, man. You got to show a lot of love out here. Even you got to have empathy for a lot of people in different situations. It don't make it right because I'm going to always tell them the truth. Try to make them tell them the truth, even though it hurts sometimes. But it's more about, just trying to meet people where they at and how can we build from here. and I got a job to do. I got a duty, as far as being at the platform. A lot of people look up to me, and all it takes is for me to just give you a little game that I learned that might help you or give you an opportunity that you might not get everywhere else, just because I chose to, put aside whatever it is that I got going on for myself and, do something bigger than me, that's going to help the future of the world, the people that's in it. It's not going to, if I could save a couple, I'm cool. But if everybody got that mindset or people try to strive for that, we can definitely change a lot of people's lives. Even though people having hella babies out here, boy, it's babies, but it's who guiding them. It's who guiding them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people shouldn't be having them, but the people around should be able to influence. If they are looking for people to influence them, I want to help them in the right way. That's why I partner with people like that, and I can feel that genuine love. From the get go. I mean, I see his work. I see the guys that he messed with. The people have nothing but great things to say about him, and I just wanted to be a part of. Help his movement on top of me helping mine too on just reaching other people since we got this platform.
I totally agree. Yeah, and big shout out to Justin Brown as well. All the work that he does with you and a bunch of other Eagle fans, or Eagle players, I should say. I'll link his Instagram down below. BG, we took way too much of your time here. We greatly appreciate this. This is big for our channel. And
that's cool.
Eagle fans love you, man.
Yes. Yes. And I got to say, too, you talked about in there, I love it. You said make someone's day. You absolutely, as Thomas alluded, you made our day. You made lots of people's day. And I've got to thank you, just take advantage of this opportunity as well, to thank you personally, because you made everyone's lives, quite honestly, with the strip sack of Tom Brady.
Yes.
So I at least had to get that out there. Thank you for that. Thank you for the Super Bowl. Really appreciate your time, man. This was a blast.
This was cool, man. I appreciate you. If anything, y'all helped me learn for what I'm going to say to the media.
There you go.
Because it is true. You got to have a couple years, man. You got to have a couple years before you really judge like a situation, because, that's just been proven. Nick Sirianni came in second year, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't win it, we was close though, but it was just like we built that. Like that first year, the second year, same thing. We know what to expect. So we ain't got to spend time on what we was learning last year, the first year. Now we just on the connection, so yeah, man, I think I appreciate y'all helping me on that.
Hey, next time you talk about this in front of the actual Philly media, just mention the two YouTubers that kind of got you to figure out exactly where you need to go. Thomas and Josh, sent you there.
Yeah, I got you. I'll make sure I give y'all a shout out for sure. There
you go. BG, we appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you for training camp in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Y'all have a good one. And, yeah, go Birds.
Go Birds. Yes, sir.
Go Birds.